What is good, everybody? So I'm sure you can see straight away we are doing a different kind of video today. We are literally in a pool in France. The weather is so hot, and what I kind of want to do today is I'm not going to be talking about product research. I'm not going to talk about ads. I'm not going to talk about how to make a website. I'm going to talk about something much more important. Now, what is that? That is mentality. Now, this is something that I know is a big thing. I'm from Ireland, and a big thing for everybody in Ireland. I know this is something that we all struggle with, you know. There's this thing called like the Irish mentality, and it's not good enough for people that want to kind of become entrepreneurs, do their own thing, you know. The Irish mentality is something that, you know, it's like you're very frowned upon if you go do your own things. And that's exactly why I'm making this video today for you, so I can kind of discuss that, go over that, and talk about how you can actually kind of escape from that mentality. Because in my opinion, mentality is the most important thing if you want to see success in business. Because you know, we can always go over the tactical stuff. As I said, we can go over the product research, how to build ads, website. But if you don't have the mentality to back it up, to go behind that when people tell you, no, it's not going to work, or when you like kind of feel like quitting and you need to kind of push past it, then there's no chance of getting results. So what we're going to discuss today is I'm going to go through exactly the steps that I did to work on my mentality and how I actually got to the point where, you know, I'm making 6 figures consistently, and how I can actually run multiple different ecom stores and own a community to teach people ecom as well. And the biggest thing is what I'm going to cover in this video is not actually talked about. So that's exactly why I said I have to address it, because I want every single person that's learning from me or whoever's watching this video to make sure you have this going on board with life and with anything you actually want to be successful in. Starting off, when people usually think about where they want to get to, whether that's success in business, success in college, success in life, wherever it is, everyone always has a number or a goal in head. Now, an example of that would be when people come to me and they want to get into ecom. You know, they always want to say, I want to make 10K a month. I want to go have the freedom to travel. You know, I want to be financially free. I want to use my money to take care of my mom, my parents, my family. Everybody has a goal. And I know you watching this video, you definitely have a goal of where you want to get to in life. But the biggest mistake, and now this is something everybody does, I was guilty of myself, is you have the goal that you want, for example 10K a month, but you have nowhere to reach from. You have no steps to get to that point. Everyone always says to me, you know, for example, if the goal is 10K a month, as I said, when I make 10K a month, then I will act like this, you know. When I have that financial freedom, then I will act like this. When I'm able to take care of my family, then I will act like this. But that's not how it works. This is one of the biggest laws in life. Be, do, have. So as I said, people say they want to have the goal and then become the person, but that's not how it works. You need to, first of all, become the person, so that is be. So you need to be that person yourself, that version of yourself that makes 10K a month. What does that person do? So now come into the do. So as I said, be, do, have. Now think about this, even write it down. So you need to be that person, and in order to be that person, you need to do what they do. So for example, what does that version of you, that whatever your goal is, if it's to make 10K a month, to have financial freedom, take care of your family, you know, just whatever you want to do from business, what does that version of you actually do? So when you actually become that person, and then you move from becoming that person to doing what they do, then you'll have the goal. That is the biggest laws in life. Not the other way around, where you have the goal, you do what that person does, and then you become that person. Instead, as I said, it's be, do, and have. Now, how does that look like? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about the best version of you. Now, forget the money for a second. Don't tie this to a number, but what is the best version of you? Is ask yourself, what does that person do every day, you know? What do they eat every day? What do they drink every day? How do they speak to their family? How do they show up to meetings? How do you talk to your partner? How do you operate every single day? What do you spend money on, and what do you save money on? So what I want you to do is really have a deep process and think about it. Now pause this video and think about what that person does. Write out 10 things about this now version of you. Once you actually think about that, is write out the 10 main things about this version of you. Funny enough, I actually did this exercise when I was 16. This was before I seen any success, and this is what I would definitely credit it to. But what I actually did when I was 16 was I tied this version of myself. I said the 10K a month version of Victor. Now, when I actually made that 10K a month, when I consistently made that, I got to that version and I was lost, because I was like, okay, wait, I got this version, now what else am I supposed to do? So that's exactly why I say to you, don't tie it to money. Just tie it to the best version that you could possibly be. Once you've written those 10 different bullet points about that best version of yourself, honestly, ask yourself, am I behaving like this person right now? Chances are that you probably aren't. You're not hanging around with the right people that you want to be around. You're not eating the right food. You're not speaking to yourself the correct way. You don't have the belief in yourself. And that's when it clicks for everybody. That's exactly when it clicked for me. To become the person that you want to be, you need to become the person that you want to be. Not later, but you need to do it now. This perfectly ties into a book that I used to read before called Atomic Habits. Now, what we have is we have things every day called micro wins, are micro losses. And they are both the idea that every single little decision, no matter what it is, that you do compounds over time. Now, it can either be a micro win, which is for the good, or it can be a micro loss, which is for the worst. Now, I'm going to give you a good example. In primary school, I'm sure we've all had this. We've all had that one kid, that one kid that was amazing at football, or we knew that they'd be successful in life. We thought that they'd be an entrepreneur. We always thought that there'd be something great about them. We always thought that there was something better about them than us as kids. Now, I can speak from personal experience. And then we look at them now, and we could see that maybe they're selling drugs, they could be working at McDonald's. Not saying that anything wrong with that, but they could not be at the point where we thought they would be when they are our age now. Now, these were the kids that everybody looked up to, Fast forward to the age I'm at now, 19, we could be 20, 21, we can see that they are not at the point that we thought that they would be. Now, how did they get to the point where we used to look up at them when we were kids? We used to think that they were the coolest kids in the class to becoming bums. And as I just told you guys before, it's through micro wins and micro losses. So for example, we will pretend that I had a kid in my class, he's a drug dealer now and it's not working out for him. So what happened? He was one of the top kids in my class, and then one day he finished primary school, for example, and then he went to the pub, he had a point, he had the best point in his life, this was his favorite. And then the day after that, he said, oh, you know what, I want to get another point again because this was so great. So then he went and had a second point, Then over time, he went to have another point, until the point where he became an alcoholic. So he was making these micro losses every single day that were compounding, and over time they made him an alcoholic. Now, he became an alcoholic, he became to the pub every day, and then he met someone that smoked cigarettes. So what did he do? He smoked one cigarette a day, and then he started compounding this over time and adding these micro losses to himself. He became addicted to cigarettes, he became addicted to drinking. So he would go to the pub every day, from smoking cigarettes outside, he met someone that has drugs. Now, what did he do? As you guys know yourself, he started taking drugs. Then he enjoyed these drugs, he started progressing worse and worse and worse. He started taking drugs, he enjoyed the drugs a lot, and he said, you know what, let me sell the drugs while I'm at it. So then he became a drug dealer, he got caught and went to jail. When you actually look back on their life, if you have somebody that you can think about an example to, it's not one big decision that ruined their life, it's through all those micro losses that compounded over time. But there is a flip side to that. The same way you can compound downwards through micro losses, you can also use that in your favor to compound upwards with micro wins. So now, going back to that piece of paper that you wrote, when you look at it, you look at all those micro wins that you actually have to do to become that person that you said you want to be, and you think, can I actually do this every single day? When you start behaving like that person you want to be, like those goals that you want to reach every single day, by doing all these small micro wins to get to that point, that is exactly how you are going to reach your goal. And that's the whole game behind it. Now, I'll be honest with you. If I watched this video now, 2 years ago, I probably would have half-assed it. I probably would have said, oh, I can't be asked. Maybe, for example, if I had to do some work later, I'd be like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. But now, when I'm at the point where I'm so used to doing these micro wins every single day, even now, if I have work at 9 p.m. and I am genuinely shattered, I always remind myself, what would the best version of Victor do? What would the best version of myself actually do? What do you do to work right now? And that's exactly what allows me to be so successful as an entrepreneur, as a friend, even to my family. All these areas in life, this is what allows me to be so successful. This is not a motivational video, because motivation doesn't last forever. But this is a video that's actually going to make that difference, make that switch for you to actually be able to achieve whatever you want. And the mindset switch is the difference. And now, the thing that I teach people how to do Ecom. I teach people how to do product research, how to make ads, how to actually build successful stores. The thing that I actually teach that takes people the furthest is getting your mindset dialed in. If your mindset isn't right, there's no tactics that are going to save you, there's no resources that are going to save you. But if you get your mindset right first, then everything flows and becomes easier from there. To conclude this video, here's what I want you to leave the video doing. So first of all, I want you to write out a list of the 10 things that the best version of you does every single day. What I want you to do is I want you to put that somewhere visible that you can see every day. And every single morning when you wake up or before you go to bed, ask yourself, am I behaving this way? Am I doing what the best version of me does? And if the answer is no, then I can't really help you that way. But if the answer is yes, then I can 100% guarantee you success in whatever you want to do, whether that's making money in Ecom, whether you want to go to college, you want to go to school, which obviously I don't recommend because, as I said, living the entrepreneur lifestyle is the best. But whatever you want to do, I can guarantee you success in that field. So as I said to you guys, it's the micro decisions, the micro wins, the micro losses that matter.